Gramagat Lascan Corda. And first of all, I want to commend Deputy Harkin on bringing this bill forward. And I know she's put in an enormous amount of work into it. First of all, in the line of credit unions, to be quite frank about it, Minister, they're the life and soul of a lot of rural areas where Bank of Ireland and some of the other banks have basically absconded out of. And in rural areas and small towns, I see in the likes of Glenamaddy, St. Jarlath's Credit Union, or it was known as Glenamaddy Credit Union, where there was two banks one time. It's the only thing. If you look at Ballyhaunis in County Mayo, a fairly big town, and the credit unions have tried to step up to the mark, but the one thing I would say is that their hands are being tied, to be brutally honest, by the central bank. Credit unions has, in some cases, been forced, and you can dress it up whatever way you want. Some will say, no, they weren't enforced, but with the regulation and stuff that came in from voluntary people trying to run the credit union in different parts of the country, and with the regulations that came in, it has got more professional and it got tougher to basically run it. And I think that I would agree with Deputy Harkin in putting a body together to watch over basically watch over the rules of the central bank. And also a major problem, a lot of credit unions, and you're well aware of this I'm sure in your own county in Laois, a lot of credit unions have a good few quid within them. The problem is that it's costing them money to hold that money, and they are struggling to get some of it out with all the different regulatory systems. Many credit unions have gone into the debit card, as has been talked about earlier, but they seem to be reluctant, and it's a sad thing to say, they seem to be reluctant to put in pass machines here and there round the credit unions. I think that it would be good if community involvement along with credit unions, where the likes of Bank of Ireland had fairly strategic buildings, that you could put in the likes of a hub system, that you'd have the post office and you'd have the credit union, and you'd have a few different necessity type operations within those small towns. And we also need to remember the farming community. Like with the banks now, basically everything is nearly online, and with due respect to all farmers, there are some farmers that, to be quite frank about it, never had a mobile phone, and they're finding it that bit difficult. When you go into a bank today, compared with a lot of the credit unions, at least someone will say hello to you in a credit union, where it's a machine you have to look at to either lodge or take out money. And I know that, in fairness to a lot of the credit unions, they have made an effort to have like a person that if they see someone coming into them and they're rummaging and a bit flustered, that they'll go up to them and sort of settle them down and give them the opportunity. I would ask you, Minister, that the central bank, in my opinion, and if you look back, and Deputy Harkin touched on it, when this country was hitting the rocks, and I remember Minister Noonan in your position there, and he said, oh, well, we have to put X amount of money aside for the credit unions. They didn't use it, because they were actually ran pretty efficiently, in all fairness, and they covered anything that they needed to do, which is not what the banking system done, as the people of this country knows well about. There is also a need, Minister, and we have to move credit unions on. Some credit unions have sort of come together, and it's about the turnover in the books, and as Deputy Harkin talked about, the amount of liquidity or the amount of money in there, what you can let out. They should have the same facilities now as banks. And even if they wanted to go into the different schemes under COVID that you brought out, I think all that should be brought in to the credit unions, or given the opportunity if they want to take it up. Because whether people like it or not, they are now going to be the Bank of Rural Ireland right around this country, because the rest of them have up sticks and gone. And I would ask you to please give the opportunity to the credit unions to give the same types of loans, be it for land, be it for houses. And yes, they are doing it in a smaller scale, but the liquidity situation is actually crippling them. Thank you very much.